The following is a Productions original series.
Hello and welcome to Walk and Roll Live. I'm Doug Vincent, along with Addie Rich. Our podcast is dedicated to amplifying the voices of the disability community. I'm a polio survivor, and Addie
has cerebral palsy.
Yeah. And how was your week?
Good. I'm mad at Mother Nature. She
Why?
Is making some leaves fall, but making it like 85.
Warmed up again.
There was a fall festival I was going to go to this weekend, and I got so frustrated that it was hot I didn't go because I was like, I can't wear my flannels and my boots.
You can't do fall stuff during the fall.
During this kind of fall.
Yeah.
How was your week?
It was okay. I'm trying to think back. Nothing huge. Busy as always, doing a bunch of things. We had our antithesis all-in casino night. It was our annual dinner.
It was so fun. It was so fun.
Yeah, good food. Kind of a artisanal pizza place came by and did all that, and we had they had a dessert gal. Oh my goodness sakes! She had a nice table out there, and I'm thinking, man, this isn't enough desserts for all these people. But every time the plate got a little bit down, she'd go in the back somewhere and bring out some new, incredible, different treat. Cookies and brownies with caramel drizzled on them and all kinds of different things. So that was good, and all the gambling. And we had like $10,000 worth of raffle prizes. So that went really well. And consumers and participants were dancing, which they loved to do. The gambling, the drinking, it was all around fun. Yeah, it definitely was a party.
I'm telling you, when I see your like TikToks and things, I wish I could step through them and be from Atlanta to where you guys are. Because I'm like, damn, that looks so fun.
Yeah, so kudos to the staff and volunteers and everybody that worked on that. And I got to be the MC again, which was the way we did it this year was just kind of brief and kicking it off and talking about the honorees that we do every year. So, and then I could just relax and have fun. So it was good.
And eat cookies.
And eat cookies. And then there's what's called a Grand National Roadster Show and another one. The guy that did that for years started a truck show, and they have pinstripers that come out and pinstripe a bunch of stuff. They set up on site so you can watch them pinstriping, which doesn't look real to me. That you can freehand paint the intricate designs that they paint, and keep it all straight, first of all. And they know how to put enough paint on the brush that you don't run out of paint halfway through the line. It's crazy. So
they're magicians, right? It makes you wish your chair had more surface area for somebody to pinstripe you.
Yes, that's exactly what I was saying. God, I got to get them to pinstripe something on my chair. Yes.
That would be amazing. Be like, dude.
And Volunteers for the last 3 years, I think Volunteers for Veterans has been the recipient. They auction all those pieces off.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we got all the proceeds of that. So, yeah, good weekend. Good weekend. It's Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month, so we want to highlight that. It's I was going to say every month is SCI Awareness Month around here. Generally, we have somebody on. We've got a few lined up, so we'll get to them and some other stories. Young lady that was in an accident and really a devastating injuries. It's a great story between her and her daughter. And her daughter really is instrumental, I think, in helping her make the progress that she's made. She's made some incredible progress. So we'll hear that story from both of them and some others. Today we've got Bob Millsap on, who kind of a little bit of shadows like from last week. Mm-hmm. With Kit, there's twists and turns and ups and downs, some real downs in his story, but he upon reflection, I think he kind of comes around and has, and I guess he accepts it and really now has turned it into, he's somebody that is trying to help other people, see the good even when there's a bad situation. That accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think so. I think it's interesting what the universe hands us. I always talk about the universe, but I'm like, I often say that we repeat things until we get the lesson. So it's interesting to see how repetition appeared. And then it was like, how about now? I think now he has reached the precipice of, oh, I get it. And I'm choosing something different. You know better, you do better, right?
Yeah.
I think that is I would theme it that.
Well, and you hope so, because there's enough people in my life who seem to be being taught the same lessons over and over again, but they're not learning them.
Well,
Yeah. And I think we all know kind of people like that. There are people that go through.
Hey, we are people like that. You just got to pick a subject, right?
Yeah, there's that.
Our
Yes.
subject of struggle.
Yeah. But, the people that horrible things happen and somehow they can come through it and be a shining light. And there's other people that seem like they have a pretty good life, and I don't judge on where that line is, but, there's just always woe is me, no matter how good their life's going, so.
Yeah.
Takes all types, takes all kinds.
It does. But let's hear this story and you'll see that people can change and people will evolve through force or through experience or whatever we want to call it. But
gentle persuasion. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we appreciate you joining us again for one of our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share. And coming up today, we'll talk with Bob Millsap and hear all of his story from the Aguiar Professional Training Studio.
At Aguiar Professional Training, we know that your greatest asset is your team. Investing in their development, knowledge, and happiness is essential for your business's success and growth. To achieve new heights, it's important to hire intelligent, talented individuals and empower them to excel in their areas of strength and passion. Aguiar is committed to transforming your employees into happier, more productive, and fulfilled individuals. When your team thrives, your business prospers. Wise leaders understand that providing team members with opportunities to shine in their strengths unlocks untapped potential. Elevate your team with Aguiar Professional Training and witness the growth of your business.
From the Aguiar Professional Training Studios, you're listening to Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live. I'm Doug Vincent. Addie is here, Addie Rich as well, and our guest for this week, who has had a long and twisting life, ups, downs, and he is going to share all of that with us. And at the end of all that, he writes a book to kind of help us if we have these kinds of things to deal with. Let's start with a brief self-introduction.
Yeah, my name's Bob Millsap. Grew up in Bakersfield, California. Born in Visalia, California. Grew up in Bakersfield. Live in Surprise, Arizona, which is a western suburb of Phoenix. Almost 4 years ago, I got extremely sick with COVID. Was running on all cylinders in my career, and in my mid 50s, and everything was going pretty well. The last few years, I've been through a lot in my life, and things were really, really starting to go well again. And bam, I got hit with COVID hard. Hospitalized 53 days. Damn near died. Oxygen level when I went in the hospital was 73. Got as low as 50. Was on 60 liters of oxygen a minute.
Wow.
High flow oxygen machine. So never went on a ventilator. Never went on a. That didn't happen. Which the care that I got really, really did wonders. Saved my life. Since I've had numerous issues. I've got, what they call long COVID, which is kind of all encompassing, but interstitial lung disease, which got diagnosed with that last year. So a lot of scarring of the lungs that progresses, which my goal is to slow that progression down as much as possible. Got extreme severe chronic fatigue that hits me every day, need a nap every day. Have some energy in the morning, but as the day goes on, I'm zapped. Yeah. And so almost a year ago, I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called ANCA-Vasculitis, which is very rare. Like 6 to 12 in a million people get it. And so it was a blessing when I got that diagnosis in a lot of ways, because it explained a lot of the things that were going on with me. that the doctors, I was the guinea pig because nobody really knows what the depths of what COVID is doing to people.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? Before we go too deeply into that part of it, I want to back up because, like you say, you've had quite the life, and so talk about the early years. Maybe start with a little bit about growing up in Bakersfield, your path to Cal Poly.
Yeah. I grew up in Bakersfield. I was an only child. My folks were in the grocery business. My dad owned supermarkets on the Central Coast of California and in Kern County, California too, where Bakersfield is. And always my goal was to go into the family business. My mom was also in the business. So I went to Cal Poly, graduated in 1990. The goal at Cal Poly was to get a business degree and then go right into the family business that I had been working in since I was, 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
And was going to, grow that business and had all kinds of dreams and aspirations. Fell in love while I was in college, had her name was Dana, and she was also in the business school. We met at Bakersfield College, the junior college in Bakersfield, but then we both went to Cal Poly together. And about 6 months after I graduated, she was going to graduate. She was a year behind me, age-wise, and 2 quarters behind me in school. So she was getting ready to graduate. Yeah, she would have graduated in November of 1990. And that the weekend of Veterans Day in November of 90, she came home. I had bought a house that was going to be our first house, and that house closed escrow on that Friday that she came home. So it was a celebratory weekend in a lot of ways, and got the keys on that Friday night, went to a wedding of some dear friends, and then the rest of the weekend did stuff for the house and just celebrated that happily ever after was coming soon. And she headed back Tuesday morning to college, to Cal Poly, and she was about 20 minutes outside of Bakersfield. Just got off Highway 99 and was heading west, and her car got clipped and she got hit by a semi and killed instantly. So that changed, devastated
The trajectory of everything, right? Like,
yeah.
Take a knee quickly.
Yeah. So that was tough. Thank goodness I had the family business to lean on at times. It was double-edged sword. Sometimes it was just too much. Other time, because I was running one of our stores, and I was being depended on, and but so it gave me something to dive into a bit. But my mom, and I was working with my mom and dad, still living with my mom and dad. I never moved into that house. Sold it not too long after, and just had a lot of anger, a lot of rage, just trying to figure out a way to move forward. Everything, had changed, and everything that was so promising I was just, stuck. I felt like I was in quicksands in so many ways. And my mom and dad did something remarkable. I mean, it just, a couple years into it, my dad just came upstairs to the office and told my mom and I, said, you know what? I got an idea. Let's sell these stores, get the hell out of here, and restart somewhere else. Buy some stores where competition isn't as strong, where regulations aren't as strong as California, et cetera, et cetera. So we did that, and that was huge for me. So change was a big catalyst. And then I had a friend, had some dear friends that really, it's funny because when you go, and I know I've seen this so many times as I've gone through things, the people you expect to be by your side and to step up for you a lot of times don't.
Yeah.
But there's people that you didn't expect to be there, and they're there. Yeah. And that's going on right now and what I'm going through now. But back then had a friend that was Dana's friend that I would stop by and see at times because I was just, I was working with my folks, living with my folks. At times I just needed to go somewhere. So I'd go there sometimes and could talk. And she had a roommate move in that I had known for years, kind of, and that Dana was friends with. Well, she moved in. Her name was Shelly. And, we became friends. And she really felt sorry for me and could really empathize a lot with me. And we were just friends, for the years I was still in Bakersfield. Then moved to Kentucky. We bought stores in Kentucky and in 93 and 3 Piggly Wigglies.
Okay, I was curious what you guys bought because I'm like, all right, we're in the South. So
Yeah. So we own 3 Piggly Wiggly supermarkets. So that was fun and, go again.
What did you think of the difference between California
it was culture
and
shock,
Kentucky?
and it really was culture shock, but it was the change I needed at the time in so many ways. So anyway, Shelly came to see me like 6 months later. She was a school teacher, her first year of teaching. She had Christmas break. She came to see me. I said, you should come out. We were just friends. Well, in that visit, when she came to see me, our relationship changed, and we got married, 6 months later or so, and not even 6 months. And we've been married for 31 years now.
Nice. Little light coming back in your life.
Yeah. So it was, that change did so much good. And, it created a lot of waves back in our hometown. People couldn't, they always wanted me to get over and move on, all that. But then when I actually did move forward, I never say move on. When I moved forward with someone they knew, it was just catastrophic and all kinds of drama from home. Still have some, still there's a person in particular that, I saw at a funeral last year at Dana's mom's funeral, and she still won't look at me, won't talk to me. Which is sad, after all that time, 30 plus years.
You'd think.
But so then moved forward, business did well. We had fun in Kentucky. Shelly and I had a son, Dylan, who just turned 30. He's getting married in a couple months, which is exciting. We, were there for 5 years. Folks decided, it was time for them to slow down. And we decided to sell the business, relocate to Phoenix. So we did that. All of us relocated to Phoenix.
Mom, dad, everybody.
Yeah. And I got into, management in the grocery business and flew high quickly and had, it was COO, national director of grocery for Wild Oats Markets, got into natural foods, COO of a company called Sunflower Markets, was COO of that. They got bought by Sprouts eventually. Wild Oats eventually got bought by Whole Foods. But I was in that early phase of natural foods, but I had so much anger and so much.
I was going to ask, so it still is with you, even though your life has found some goodness.
Right.
Yeah.
I just had a chip on my shoulder.
Did you ever seek any professional help, Bob?
I did. And I probably talk about that. I have a book, Shake Yourself Free. And I talk about that in the book that I did. And she was, I should have kept trying, but the person I had was somebody through the church, through the Catholic Church in Bakersfield that was recommended to me. And she just didn't get it whatsoever. She compared it to when her, one of her daughters broke up with her boyfriend. And, I was minimized so much at that young age. They feel like at 23, you should just get over it. And so I had a lot of resentment towards a lot of that stuff. And, my career kind of imploded from the anger and the hard ass ways that I had. And, so really created a lot of baggage that, it's taken me years and so many different experiences and lessons that I've learned from them to get to the point where I've got as much gratitude and empathy and treat people with such kindness like I do now. I sure wasn't that way. And but you can get, with the work And with self-awareness and allowing yourself to be vulnerable, you can eventually get there.
Yeah. And I'm sure you go into depth with this in the book, right?
I do.
But maybe
I do.
if there's a few things that you can kind of share with us, some nuggets that kind of helped you turn that corner.
Yeah. I got pushed out of the grocery business really at a point where at the time I didn't quite realize that it was, had a lot to do with just how hard I was on people. How, I expected so much, but in the family business, we expected a lot out of ourselves and other people. And I just took that into overdrive in my career. And so I was really able to kind of step back, reflect. Change has been such a catalyst of so much of the good that's come out of my life. I got into a new industry, got into the mortgage business, was able to serve people in a way to, get first-time homebuyers in houses, and really my heart was feeling good for the first time in a long time. That was going well. Market crashed. It was just pure Phoenix as far as the crash of the housing market. So I ended up going back into the grocery business, and I had learned so much in those 5 years how to treat people, and it was just a completely different experience. That's where I met Stacy. She was my assistant. Stacy's the one that introduced Doug and I. Went up in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and just became the community grocer. Had so much fun. Things were going well again. The family moved up. They weren't thrilled about it, but they knew it was something we needed to do career-wise to keep food on the table. So they came up. Shelly had a small baking business down here in Phoenix, and was getting that going, was selling stuff to the store that I was running. I was running the highest volume per square foot natural food store in America in Jackson, Wyoming. So we were selling a lot of our product in the store. No. And this was what changed my life more than anything. And it was, Shelly had an accident in our house. She was baking, getting ready to go to the commercial kitchen, and she had made some, it's a crazy accident, crazy story. She had made some homemade ginger ale, put it in the refrigerator. Nobody drank it. Put it in a 2-liter bottle, empty 2-liter Coke bottle. She filled that up with the ginger ale, a couple bottles. One of the bottles got drank. The other one just sat in the refrigerator for a while. And when we said wasn't going to drink it, she put it on the counter. Stayed there for a couple days. We were all busy. Kids were in school. Shelly was doing the baking business. I was working like crazy, 70 hours a week in the grocery business. So she walked by that bottle one morning, and it exploded the moment she walked past it.
Wow.
Knocked her unconscious, knocked her to the ground. The force, not the bottle, but the force of the explosion.
Yeah.
So she had to relearn to walk, relearn to talk.
Yeah.
She has a traumatic brain injury. I've been her caregiver. She has PTSD. And that, when I saw her not feel sorry for herself, and I was feeling sorry for myself, thinking, oh my God, here we go again. It just, something clicked. And ever since, I've just been totally focused on gratitude and helping other people. So now, I've got cognitive issues. I've got, a long list of issues from my illness. And so we help each other through this now. We're dual caregivers for each other in so many ways.
So you had to leave the grocery business to take care of Shelly?
Yeah. So I stayed in the business for a while, and we were, being up there in Jackson, Wyoming was great for me. I had, it was a turning point in my life, just the connections I made and the sense of community, being part of the community. I had a radio show that my son and I did together. And our two boys, Dylan and Taylor, they're 5 years apart. Taylor was born in 2000. and they were amazing help for us. They really stepped it up in a lot of ways because they were 12 and 17 at the time of the accident. So we were 5 hours away from the closest big good hospital down at University of Utah. We didn't have any family up there. Shelly was really isolated. I'd go and I was the local grocer, so I'd see people all day long, but she was just stuck in the house trying to relearn how to do things. It was, below zero outside. So eventually, after a few years, we decided to move back to Phoenix and get close to family, get close to old friends, and better medical care. And so we've been back here almost 10 years now. And Shelly's made a lot of improvements, but she still really gets triggered easily by loud noises, sudden commotion. Can't drive she can drive around here, but can't get on the busy interstate and drive. We have to try to get far away during fireworks times at 4th of July or
And how
New
many
Year's
years
Eve.
ago was this now, Bob?
This was 13 years ago.
13 years.
Yeah.
Does she feel like she's making some gains at all?
She is. She is. She really, and it's an invisible injury, which is also what I have.
Yeah.
And she looks great. She doesn't talk with any slowness or like she's come a long ways as far as her speech goes, and you wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
And that can be hard sometimes because everybody just
sword, right? Because they're like,
because everyone's like, oh, look, she's doing so great. It's great that she's all better now.
Yeah, we did a whole month of shows on that.
Yeah, and we both get that because, it just
that minimizing again
it doesn't show. Right.
Yeah.
So, I want to rewind for a second though, because you were deep in your story, and I was like, this is a moment. I think that there's a moment, lot. Right? Well, and I think that you touch on it about like just learning so much and like learning to be compassionate and kind to people and things. It's the know better, do better, right? You can't like beat yourself for who you were because that doesn't go away. That already happened. That is what it was, right? But you have this big chance for the rest of your life to do better because you know better. And so in so many ways, to her, to yourself, to the people around you, I think it's huge, and that's I wanted to jump in at that point and be like, I don't know better, do better, and I think it's a big deal.
I feel like that saved my life in a lot of ways when I was fighting for my life so hard. So, it was so touch and go. In my hospital records, it says high probability of expiration overnight. It says for the first few nighs. But I really pulled on all those experiences that I've had and that I've made it through, to really understand that we get through these things, and but so much of it has to do with mental mindset and getting your mind right to be able to not let the negativity consume you and just sweep you away. Not let fear is a big one that I let go of all fear. I thought, you know what, if it's my time, it's my time, but I'm going to do all I can to be here for Shelly, Dylan, and Taylor. And here I am.
Mission not yet accomplished. So they're like, sorry. Right. They're like, sorry, dude, your ticket's not ready to be punched. Like, keep it up.
Right.
Yeah. But I think you have
Thank
to,
goodness.
your soul has to make that agreement too, that it's going to stick around, right? Like they can give you a mission and say.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. And this interstitial lung disease, when you dig down the rabbit hole of the internet, you know how that can be sometimes, 3 to 5 years, you keep seeing over and over, especially once you get to pulmonary fibrosis level because the scarring progresses. And, so I'm doing a lot of things, I'm doing the things I can do to be here as long as I can. And that's being outside like I am right now and getting sunlight and finding that balance, getting that nap every day, but also doing what I can do some days are better than others. Some days I have no energy. Other days I have some energy where I can do some things in the morning, like walk, and I've got a cold plunge at the house and an infrared sauna. I did those things this morning, things that help. Both of those things, slow the progression of the scarring. They help the inflammation. They help so many different things. And the biggest thing they do is they help me realize that I can still do hard things and that I could still challenge myself by getting into 43-degree water for 10 minutes and sitting there,
Right. You're like, let me out. No.
Yeah. Right after I've just been in the sauna for 25 minutes, it gets up to 169. But it's just, it's really a choice. I've looked at it as a choice to get my mind right and to be grateful for everything that I have up to this point, and understand that there's no guarantee how long we're going to be here, and just blessed that I have just such an incredible wife and incredible 2 kids, and just grateful and thankful, and that's what moves me through each day, and not really not planning much,
What do you feel today?
Yeah, it's like, let the days come and do what you can each day. Don't put pressure on yourself. When I was in business and running hard and always had goals and plans and long to-do lists, and I've just had to let all that go and just think about this inner circle, my family and myself, getting us through and having fun during the process, and not letting go of having a good time as much as we can, and doing the things I enjoy to do and we enjoy to do. I'm a huge music fan, so I go see live music, 1 to 2 times a month, usually with my oldest son Dylan and his fiancée Ashley, and it's past my bedtime when I'm up. It's more than I should,
Yeah.
But music just energizes me, but I have concessions where, there's the ADA area that I'm able to sit in when everybody else is standing on the floor. The kids can be over there close to the stage, and I can just, sit on a chair by the soundboard, and I'm not ashamed or afraid to do those things.
That's a pretty good seat a lot of times.
It is. And it's what keeps me moving forward and keeps me positive. And, once you let go of those things you enjoy most, I think that's really where it starts spiraling away from you.
So on those mornings when you get up and you feel pretty energetic, do you have to kind of tell yourself, pace yourself, don't go too hard?
I do, because I wake up early. I'm sleeping a little more than I was for a while there, but being a grocer for so many years, I get up early, and I feel, I feel pretty clear. The mental clarity is there, so I typically work on writing a little bit. Go to the coffee shop, working on book number 2, and then I come home, and if I'm up to it, I go for a walk. Time myself. But I used to be more competitive with myself, and that's one of the things I had to tell myself. You know what? If I went faster yesterday than today, there's a reason. Don't overthink it. So, do that, and then do the cold plunge and sauna, and then the rest of the day, if I have one thing on my to-do list and I'm able to do it, that's great. And if I don't do it, I'll do it. I'll maybe do it tomorrow.
That's also great.
I don't
sweat
don't
it.
let that consume. Right. Don't let that consume me anymore.
Yeah. So I'm curious.
Metrics are not going to measure your life.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
that is. When everything's done, they don't get out the metric board and go, okay,
Right.
he sold this many groceries and he was nice to this many people. He was mean to this many. Like there's not a ticker tape. So do the things that are.
It's taken me, all these years to really figure that out too.
Yeah.
It sounds so elementary, but I was focused on the wrong things for a long time, and now I've
it's easy
figured
to
out a way
do
to have
that.
some balance.
Society is, everybody is just kind of getting on that wheel and going. So, and it's hard when you get, I struggled with it in my retirement. It took me a couple of years to kind of get my mind changed into, you ran hard for so many years.
Right.
Now, if you don't get up at the crack of dawn, it's okay.
Right.
It's your day. Yeah. So,
but we have to have a purpose in some
yes.
way. That's the key.
This is my
Like
purpose.
You have this podcast
Yep.
that gets there's a gleam in your eye about it, and it gives you that spark that you had in your career, and it's at your pace. And so that's me, with writing a little bit. It's it'll take me a long time to get that book 2 out, but I'm gonna plug away at it little by little, because that gives me that thing to work towards that's reminds you of back when you were hard charging. You can't just totally let it go and just sit there
and turn it off. Right. Yeah.
You're right.
So
right.
I'm curious about the medical industry, and do they accept that long COVID diagnosis? Did you have to fight the medical community to get that kind of a diagnosis?
I just had to list all my doctors for something recently, and I think I have 17 of them, and I've upped the level of care. I've upped the horsepower of the people I'm seeing now compared to when this first started. But I've been really amazed that they've been so open and interested in hearing what I have to say, and very rarely have they downplayed it. I mean, I've had a few that have, but that was at the very beginning, and I've fired those guys. But but it's really been it's shown a lot of humility on their behalf, because they admit that they don't know, and that I'm their guinea pig in a lot of ways, and that we're going to try this. And how about let's try, and we keep it's like throwing mud against the wall. There's so many things we've tried for this fatigue issue, and none of them's helped.
Yeah.
My pulmonologist gave me a medication that he was a pulmonologist in the military, and they would give pilots to keep pilots, Air Force pilots, to keep them from falling asleep while they were flying and getting tired while they were flying. I tried that, didn't work, but we try, we've tried things, and they, a lot of them tell me, I've never, reviewing your records, I've never seen anybody so sick with COVID that survived. Yeah. And, we're gonna learn together. Yeah. And so that's been a positive.
Yeah. So they're looking at learning so they can transfer that to other patients as well. Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Guess Shelly didn't have that experience. Shelly had an awful experience with some doctors with her brain injury. Mm-hmm. That really minimized her situation a lot. So we were, and I talk about that in the first book. And so I was aware to be watching for that, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. It's, we've heard it so many times on this program. I have my own story. Addie has her story, about those, underestimating us that doctors do, or not listening. Yeah. So you have to be your own advocate. Definitely have to make some noise.
That's absolutely right. And I go to, I have doctor's appointments, multiple every week. And tomorrow I'll be at St. Joseph's Medical Center getting a CT scan at 8:30 on my nose and neck, because with this ANCA-Vasculitis, there's nasal disease. I mean, there's just carpal tunnel, the joint issues, hearing loss, the cognitive disorder, all kinds of esophageal issues. I'm going to next week go and see a surgeon that's going to do something with my esophagus. I mean, it just keeps on going, piling on. The more it's like peeling back an onion. There's just so many layers to it. But I look at it as a positive because at least I'm finding stuff out. Whereas that first year or so, it was, I wasn't really finding anything new out. It was just, oh, you have long COVID. Let's see how long this lasts. You should be getting better after 9 months or 12 months but now we're getting to the core of so many issues. And
it sounds like you got a great attitude about it. You're staying positive. I mean, I'm sure there's tougher days than others, but
yeah. It's, Shelly always says, don't throw a pity party for yourself. And if you do, have it end quickly.
Yeah.
And so I just try to look at the best of every situation and move forward and enjoy every day. Because I feel like I'm blessed to still be here because I came so close to dying.
I think we're losing your connection just a little bit.
That's Luke Air Force Base is nearby.
Oh, yeah.
So a jet just flew over. We call it the Sound of Freedom.
Gotcha. Well, before we let you go, I want to hear about the book. Tell us about the book.
Yeah. So Shake Yourself Free. It was written, took me about 5 years to write, and it was all written before I got sick with COVID. So I'd work on it early in the morning. I was got back in the mortgage business when I moved back to Arizona, and I was doing really well at it. I mean, extremely well. The market was flying. The interest rates were low. So I was working like crazy at that. But every morning I'd get up before daylight. I'd go to a little local coffee shop, and I'd work on it for an hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And then I put that away. 8:30, 9 o'clock, I'd put that computer away, and I wouldn't think about the book the rest of the day. So this went on for years, and a publisher found me that mutual people knew in Jackson, Wyoming. He's a world-renowned polar explorer. So he writes books on that, about resilience, that type of resilience. And he saw my story, and he's like, you've got resilience a far different way. And he said, I think there's definitely a book here. So he worked with me. And I was just in the editing process where a content editor had gone through it. So we were working on that. So I was really seeing the light at the end of the tunnel after, almost 4 years, and I got sick. And so I'm talking to him, and he's like freaking scared for me with where my oxygen level was, because he knows, he climbs mountains and knows all about that. And he's like, man, I'm like, this is crazy, but how? And I can hardly talk. I'm like, how am I going to get this into that book? How am I going to tell this story? And he's like, no, this is perfect. He said, we get that book out, we get this first book out, and then now you have the material for that second book. Okay. Right. So got out of the hospital, worked, the editing part of it, I couldn't do as much as I would have been able to do. So I had some help from him with that. Well, 10 months later, 9 months, I guess it was, no. A year and a month after I got out of the hospital, so 13 months, the book came out. So in March of 23, Shake Yourself Free. It's chronicles what I talked about, the experiences of my life. End of each chapter's got lessons to learn that can apply to people in their own life and action items. And it's really resonated with people. I mean, it's got nearly 70 reviews on Amazon. All of them are 5-star. Been on podcasts like this, talking about it. And it's really, speaking of a sense of purpose, it's really given me some purpose. That found the purpose for the pain that I've gone through and all the madness that's gone on in my life, and able to help people is Shelly and I both say that's the name of the game is, if, we're put on this earth to help others. And so I'm able to do that. So that feels great. And
well, forgive me if this is a silly question, but, so you're a guy that obviously has had some hurdles, let's say, in life, and you've struggled for a while, and something kind of clicked and you made a decision to work on that. It's kind of turned the corner. You write a book on it, resonates with people, and then COVID.
Right.
And now you're writing another book that probably has that part of your life.
Right.
And so the question is, does it get easier now that you've had these lessons from the previous traumas, if you will?
I think it gets easier for me to battle and accept.
Yeah.
When I was damn near dead, fighting for my life, couldn't breathe. I was thinking, okay, you've written a book on this. This is go time, man. This is literally crunch time, where you need to use all that you've learned, and in whatever crazy way you express it to get yourself through it.
Yeah.
And I was, listening to music like crazy. I was, videos of myself on, social media, fighting for my life. And, some people thought I was completely insane. Other people were drawing, a lot of inspiration from it. But I was drawing that energy from the outside, because people couldn't come into my room.
Mm.
So they were going outside my hospital window and seeing me through the window, because I was on the first floor, and the hospital didn't transfer me to the bigger hospital within their network, because they said, we need to keep him here in this room so he can keep drawing this energy, because that's what's keeping him alive.
Yeah.
So it's funny, because I told the guy that I worked with, that was my business partner in the first go around of the mortgage business, and he was my boss in this, and my second go around, and a good friend. And I had told him just a month before I got sick, and I was just, doing so well in the mortgage business. Everything was going well. Family, Shelly was doing better, and I told him, I said, it just seems a little bit too good to be true, and I laughed. And sure enough, you never know what's around the corner. And that's something I've got really good at understanding. And I think that helps me move through it. As I found out last week, I've got esophageal, I can't even say it yet, disease now too. It's like, okay, we know how to fight that now. We know how to get our mind right around whatever comes up next. Yeah. And so in that way it does get easier.
Yeah.
Tools. Learning to use the tools instead of saying, screw this.
And why me? Because there's so many people we know that just, they can't handle the smallest little bump in the road, and it's just drama surrounding it. And I hope to help some of those people, find the tools to get some resiliency.
Yeah.
And bring that back to their lives.
It's an untaught skill.
Yeah.
It's an untaught skill, but a key skill, right? Like we aren't taught it actively in schools or things, but it is the thing that will move you through the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So where can we find the book?
The book is on Amazon. It's on, barnesandnobles.com, Goodreads. It's on my website. I've got a website, bobmillsap.com.
Okay.
Easy to find. Usually if you can get it within a few days, and it's an easy read. I keep having people tell me that once they start reading the stories,
moves right along.
it keeps them on the edge of their seat
Yeah.
enough that they, sometimes some people have read it, one evening and stayed up into 3 o'clock in the morning or so, and finally finished it and gone to bed.
Yeah.
It feels good to be able to do something in a positive way from all the negative that's happened in the past.
Well, I will add your website to our resources page on our website, and all the luck in the world to you. When you get that second book done, you'll have to come back and chat with us.
I would love to. And I, thank you for what you guys are doing. And I sure appreciate your time today.
Bob Millsap, thank you.
Each week on Walk and Roll Live, we share honest and open stories of people living with a disability.
I had a huge bruise from my mom's 9mm. It was a hollow point, and it went in diagonal up an angle from just above my right ear to about the left side of my top of my head.
Join us weekly for another powerful episode. Walk and Roll Live, wherever you get your podcasts. Life Limitless. Subscribe now.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live Disability Stories.
The morning light spills across the floor. I take a deep breath and think about what's ahead. Most days I'm moving without a hitch. Sometimes my body taps me on the shoulder and says slow it down for a while. The day is mine. I've got people I love, people who love me back. I get to chase what matters and laugh until I can't breathe. Some days I pause, but I never stop. Life rolls on, and I'm rolling.
Yes, you are listening to Walk and Roll Live. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Just got done with our interview with Bob Millsap, and it's interesting to hear the evolution from the beginning to the end of his story. Come a long, long way.
All these stories, I get glad that you don't always have a video, right? Because my face, it says everything. I can't hold it.
Your face has closed caption?
My face has closed caption. And this story is one that the closed caption was on. And I think that, even after we're done with the story, I thought about it and talked about it and things, just like how deeply I can't imagine buying a house and never living in it because it reminds me of other things, right? So like for me, that was the essence of the whole story. And obviously like he has learned how to, okay, that was a chapter. Now he has his wife who's had this traumatic brain injury, which is also insanely crazy. I'm scared of 2-liter bottles. Now that, it's just fascinating. But the best part of the story is obviously his evolution and his choice to go from like somebody angry with a chip on their shoulder that admittedly wasn't very nice to people to like being kind and nice and not. And taking that moment to say, if this is it for me, how do I want to be? Yeah. And I think that that's something that like we as humans often.
I think, part of his reflection was realizing that the two things were related, the experiences in his life and how he was treating people. It was kind of a manifestation of those feelings coming out some way. Yeah.
Like I can't hold it. It also made me curiosity got my cat too, that I was like, okay, well, if some of that anger was manifesting in like such the level of what he expected of himself and others and things, right? Is it a self-coping mechanism that you don't let people close? Cause then you don't have to be worried about losing them. Like,
I would think so.
If they think you're a jerk, right? And they care for you only limitedly, then you also can reflect that. So it was a very interesting human nature is so fascinating to me. And him telling the story of him being that and how warm he was with us.
Yeah.
It was, you kind of wished everybody was sitting with us to see, like, you see this man kind of step out of that man and be. It's a choice. I love people who make good choices. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure the loss he had in his life, a defense mechanism would be not to get too close to people because you may just lose them again. Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% understand, but I also love that he's young enough to make a different choice and just choose like, hey, whatever, I'm going to do this different. And I think that if all of us took the time to think, should I be doing this different? Some of us would live very differently, or I would hope, right?
Yeah. So Bob Millsap, Shake Yourself Free was his, I don't know if it was his first book, but definitely
it is
the book that he was on to talk about, but he's working on a second one. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that and maybe bring him back when that's ready to release. So, and I'm going to try to hunt it down too, so I can put it on our probably on our events page in the miscellaneous kind of friends of the show area.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So, and I was looking at the events page, not a whole lot coming right up, but there are some things in October, early October and later in October. There's some things. So if you work with an organization that has some big events, a fundraiser or adaptive sports event, anything, send it along to us and we'll get it up on our events page and maybe talk about it a little bit here on the show. Yeah. So I think that's all I've got for today. You got anything else?
Nope, I don't think so.
All right. Well, hopefully things cool off a little bit. Hopefully you'll get some fall weather.
I'm praying. And I don't want the fall weather that's just pure rain. Mother Nature.
Yes, exactly.
I'm being choosy. I'm putting in my order.
Yeah. I like the cold, crisp weather without the rain for a while before it gets into all that nastiness. Yeah.
For sure.
All right. We'll have a wonderful week.
Thanks for listening, people.
I'm your host, Doug Vincent, with Addie Rich from the Aguiar Professional Training Studio. This has been Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories, Life Limitless.
Walk and roll life.